And I personally, I'm really digging it. You guys just released a new single, "Comfortable Ache,"
Yeah.
um, which is phenomenal. We're going to be playing it here on the show tonight. Now, from what I understand, even Common Vision itself is a big coming together of a couple different bands. Is that correct?
Yeah. So there's the Orlando scene's a little, well, I guess just over time, the years, the scenes change and things like that. But yeah, the band kind of came together. It was basically me and the drummer, and then we had a bass player too. And there was like 3 or 4 bands kind of in the area that just never seemed to become whole, or they would play a couple shows or release something, and then they would lose a couple members or whatever. And just from being in that circle, not being able to, on our end, our big thing was we couldn't find a singer, and our vocalist was singing in another band at the time that was doing well locally, and they weren't seeing the eye to stuff. And then the stuff we were writing was kind of more in his interest, and that's kind of even how like the name came along for Common Vision. It was just, this is the music that we all wanted to play. And even at first, like, we weren't sure exactly what it was going to be, but we all kind of had similar influences and, kind of similar approaches to the writing and stuff. And it just kind of really came together. I mean, we did our debut EP in like 3 months, and that was just doing it on weekends too, because everybody was working. And it just came together. It was kind of like, like a love fest, so to speak. We just get together, drink a couple beers, track some material. We recorded it all here at my house. And one thing led to another, and then now it's definitely getting a little bit heavier, but we're kind of more in, kind of focusing in on maybe like that late 90s, early 2000s vibe. It's kind of making its way around, and I mean, that was the stuff I grew up on, at least, and it kind of went out for a little while, so it's cool to kind of see that come back a little bit.
Yeah, and there'll always be those types of waves within music when different things and ideas come back. And I think where we are now socially, it's we're kind of in this nostalgic culture. We're all with especially us that are in our 30s right now, early 40s. There is a clamoring for the nostalgia, and that's why we have so many remakes and movies and things like that. There is, to a certain degree, a nice comfort level to those things when done well. So to find a band that is reminiscent of, childhood glory days of just, loving metal and the early influence to it. I mean, because to me, the Deftones, my sister gave me Adrenaline on a cassette. And they were like one of the first bands that like it actually felt like it was for me. Everything else before that I had listened to that has always just been music, and growing up, and I was growing up with Pink Floyd and Stevie Ray Vaughan, and obviously Metallica, and then my father massively into the early grunge movement and like Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But nothing at that time, it really just like felt like it was mine. I hate to say it in such a selfish manner, but we feel that way about some of the bands that we love because it hits all the right notes, at the right time, and you feel like you connect to it, and it's like, oh, this is my band. Finally, this is the one that like it speaks out to me. And then eventually you're able, if for those that love it so much, you're able to encapsulate that feeling and then put it into your own music and be able to progress forward. And I like seeing where people's influences come from and where they've grown and developed over the years. And it's neat when you can actually hear some of the influence, coming through as a little, homage, to previous inspiration. So that kind of brings me to my next thought here is, besides, obviously like, bands like the Deftones and stuff like that, where do you right now, find out of, what's happening modernly in the game right now, who inspires you? I mean, not just in metal and things like that, but of all music. What are you currently listening to?
I like the band Slaves. I like them a lot, especially the new vocalist that they have. I think a lot of their songs are pretty cool. Definitely more along the lines of, I guess I would say like the ambient melodic rock stuff. I like a lot of like the older Hands Like Houses records. What else? Like Wage War, Ghost Inside, like a lot of their more recent releases I think are very well done. They're very polished.
Absolutely. You got Will Putney, king of the boards there. Unbelievable engineer. And also, if you're not familiar, guitarist for Fit for an Autopsy, phenomenal band, great guys, great human beings, all of them. They're doing great things right now. Will just had a big thing a couple of weeks ago where he spoke to a bunch of different musicians about what's happening in the world and really just listened. If you hadn't got a chance to check it out, go over to Fit for an Autopsy's page or William Putney's page and check it out. Some really powerful things said by some really great musicians about what's happening in the world right now. I love Will.
I love Fit for an Autopsy, and I love that's another person I would love to work with someday. Is Will Putney. I use like a lot of his like guitar tones and stuff like that when I track my stuff. I
just got his home studio. I just picked it up.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Dialed in already.
Yeah. Oh, it's so wonderful. And like I myself, I produce like electronic music of, some to ambient to heavy drum and bass, and been looking to incorporate, because I've always loved bands, like Pendulum or bands like Enter Shikari. And I love, that incorporation of metal and rock with electronic. And it's something I've wanted to jump into for a while and just couldn't digitally capture the right sound that I wanted to. Saw what Will was doing, looked a little into it, pulled it, and not gonna look back. It's unbelievable. So
do you like his new band?
What's that?
Do you like his other band, End?
End?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, they kind of they remind me a lot of like Converge and Turmoil, again, stuff I grew up on, and it's very well done, very well produced. Obviously,
that whole post-hardcore side that's really where a lot of my interest, lie. I love the post-hardcore sort of sound, or even like some ramp up, like Iron Regan or Every Time I Die.
Oh yeah.
Stick to your
legend.
I love that. I just love that amp up. That amp up and the positivity, and even the Ghost. I fucking love the Ghost Inside. Unbelievable. We actually the first time that Tyler and our bands got to play together, and actually, you were out at that point because it was 2013. It was the second reunion tour, but was actually that show we were supposed to play was supposed to be the Ghost Inside's reunion show before they came back with Great Unknown.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was a while ago. I got a crazy memory for these types of things. But really, really cool to see where the Ghost Inside has come, especially after everything they've overcome in the last few years. Really, really cool to see, Andy drumming. That's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I know Andy we toured with when we toured with For the Fallen Dreams, he was their drummer. I don't know if he was the original drummer. He was playing drums for them when we toured before the Fallen Dreams. So got to know him a little bit. Always seemed like a great guy. I hated what happened with that, that accident. But it was awesome to see them release that single Aftermath and kind of see everything. I got emotional watching it. It was
I've been a huge fan of them for years, and I just cried. I'm so happy for them. I'm very empathetic, when I see other people doing well, I just kind of get overwhelmed by it, Yeah. Probably, I don't give a fuck about my cred. I cry all the time.
Got to every once in a while.
I wear my heart on my sleeve, but to see somebody overcome and persevere after so much tragedy, it's hard not to get emotional over that. So.
Yeah, it was definitely something else, and just the video was well done too. The song's great, and Will did a great job, on the production and everything too. Guitars sound incredible as always. They always have incredible guitar tones too. So
I can't wait to see what he does with the new Every Time I Die album.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
something like I saw that it's like something like 18 songs, or if I saw something it's like is 18 or is 20 songs too many songs for an album? I was like, no, it's not. Not if it's an Every Time I Die album, hands down. So
yeah. I've seen Every Time I Die probably more times than I can ever count, but probably the most awesome performance. I saw them at, I think it was Hellfest 2003. And that was like right when Hot Damn dropped, which was just another like marquee record
Game changer
in my life. And yeah. And I seen him, I think I saw him at New England Metal Hardcore Fest 2 upstairs at the Palladium, I think the year prior. And that was when it was still the last night in town era. And that was pretty wild too.
Oh, God. And they're the type of band that if you were to see them today and then go to see them a week after that, you can get in two drastically different shows. That's what I love about them is it doesn't matter when and how many times or how frequent you see them, as they have such a deep discography that you're not going to see the same set twice.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, pretty much everything they've ever released is just incredible. That's another band that just, another fine wine.
Oh, absolutely. And just another great one from New York, just bat 100 on them, You guys get Every Time I Die. We got, you got My Bitter End. You got Glassjaw.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've got some Glassjaw a bunch too.
That's
I got to see them down here.
We have Converge. We have Converge, and by proxy, we have Cave-In.
Cave-In was another big one for me.
New Hampshire, Northern Mass, but still, we'll claim them. We'll claim them as ours.
That's a good band to claim.
I saw Cave-In on the very last American ISIS show. It was their second to last show ever. It was actually in Portland, Maine. And I'd seen Cave-In so many times before it, but that performance with them and ISIS together was just otherworldly. I rest in power, Caleb, like straight up, like that was a hard loss too. And it's definitely what some people don't understand when you're a band like this, it's not like what everybody thinks with being in a band. You might some even have a tour bus and stuff, but like a lot of the tragedy and the things that can fall on you, it falls on the band, and when shit hits the fan, it financially, it hits the band, or and there's some ways there's no way replacing it. Thinking of The Ghost Inside is just one of many, many bands out on the road doing their thing, putting it out, even with a label support, that dealing with those types of things. I think probably one of the worst I've ever, potentially read is the Candiria situation. Another great.
That was another tough one. Yeah. When they got in that accident with the van.
And unbelievable. And like most brilliant. I don't know if anything's even come close to what Candiria was trying to do of mixing the hardcore and metal and jazz and hip hop and everything that they were doing. I mention them a lot because they don't get enough love. I miss that band so much. And even after that, they came up with What Doesn't Kill You as just a true testament to fuck you. You're not going to hold us down even after everything they lost. It's hard, it's hard. And then people don't understand that commitment that these artists are putting in there. When especially the burden falls on them,
Yeah, that sucks. That was another band. Like I want to say my first show ever, I saw them. It was like Candiria, E-Town Concrete, Hate Breed. It was like $5 in Poughkeepsie. That was kind of like a monthly thing. And seeing that band grow too was amazing. I mean, I'm not a drummer, but Ken was always one of my favorite drummers to watch. He was just something else. And
versatile beyond belief. I mean, just the way that he could switch time signatures and style. Just
so effortlessly, and he just had it. He just had it. It was incredible. Even I play guitar left-handed, so it was awesome when they had Eric playing guitar. He was lefty too, so that was like, oh wow, there's actually another lefty out there in a hardcore band or whatever, so to speak. And John was sick. I loved all his leads too. He had like that little jazzy bluesy thing going on too. And then sometimes on record it almost didn't, because the recording quality back then, but you'd see those guys live and it was like, wow, these guys are super heavy, so much heavy. Like just live, it was like the heaviest stuff. It was great.
And like bands like them and like even, Cave-In and Converge and Botch, kind of the switching over of the beginning. I hate to just say post-hardcore, but there's not a better term for it, unfortunately. You know, those kind of post-hardcore bands moving on. I mean, Converge and Botch definitely, it's setting the way entirely. But when you get bands like Candiria out of that just changed the entire game. And it's neat because, like I said, you grew up in a very special area in New York where you were 50 miles away from some of the most influential, game-changing bands in the last 20 years when it comes to metal and hardcore.
Yeah, I'll be forever grateful for that. That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, if there wasn't a show going on in Poughkeepsie, then you could take the train down to the city, or you can take the drive up the thruway to Albany, and just to see some legendary shows there. VOD. I got to see VOD a lot. I saw VOD up there with Killswitch like the day they signed with Roadrunner. That's like when like Adam was still the drummer, Jesse never left, and Blood Has Been Shed. Got to see Blood Has Been Shed a bunch up there. That was always pretty wild.
Yes, that's Spiral's album, man. That still, she speaks to me. It's unbelievable band. And so much history, from band, like the Dillinger Escape Plan, everything that's coming out of there. It's insane to be a part of that. And honestly, I put, My Bitter End, right there with, all those founding bands. I mean, you guys, you killed it. And you're still, here you are now. It's 15 years later, doing brand new stuff, killing it. So we know all the social limitations that we're dealing with right now. So besides the single just coming out, what's in store for Common Vision?
Probably we need to complete the EP. We probably got like 2 more songs to go on that. It's different now in, like you said, with the times. It seems like just dropping a single at a time seems to be working out better than, just kind of dropping like a bunch of songs at one time, at least for us. So right now we're kind of doing it just like a song at a time every, other month or so, and doing videos, if we feel like we should do a video for it. Hopefully we're going to get back out to, playing shows. We need to branch out a little bit more. We've kind of just, played the Orlando area and mostly, North and Central Florida. So, hopefully, get the band up back to my hometown, maybe play some shows up there. That would be great.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I'd love it if you'd come up to the Northeast.
Yeah, it would be awesome. If not, I'm hoping maybe I've noticed like a couple of the radio stations down here that have played us, they're doing like these live virtual shows. Maybe we're going to look into doing something like that. And just continue to get our name out there. I know that, there's a lot of bands out there, and there's a lot of, there's so many bands actually. So trying to get your name out there is definitely probably the trickiest part. So just working on getting out there, and hopefully, more people get to be exposed to us. And if they like what they hear, we can go from there, maybe tour and see what happens.
And, and that's really all I can do is just that level of perseverance. And I think you're right about kind of a slow is steady, less is more mentality right now. I've seen so many great songs from bands I've seen online that just get buried because they're almost putting out a little bit too much content. And so they have these unbelievable songs that just go completely unnoticed. So I think you're on to something. I think you're on to something, and it's definitely working. Loving what we're hearing. Really excited to play the new single for everybody. We get a couple of your older videos. We might even take a look back tonight here to some early My Bitter End. We checked out some of the later stuff in previous episodes, but we haven't checked out any of the early stuff. So we might take a little drive to the past here later on tonight. So
walk down memory lane.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with getting nostalgic.
Yeah.
So
absolutely, it's definitely a big part of me.
AJ, before we part ways, anything you want to say out to the world right now?
There's a lot of things. Hopefully, we get past this pandemic, and hopefully, all the craziness in the world, we come to peace, and the country gets going the proper way. We get to go back out and play music, do what we love, or go into sporting events or whatever you're into. Hopefully we get some kind of normalcy and peace. That's what I'm hoping. yeah, just as far as Common Vision's concerned, yeah, we're going to be releasing some more music here in the next few weeks as well, and music videos, and then hopefully we're going to be doing some virtual shows and stuff like that. So hopefully check us out on our YouTube or social medias and keep up to date with us. And we're going to try to make as much stuff as we can without, being too overbearing and getting lost in the mix.
Oh, absolutely. And where can we find you online?
We're on all the social medias. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and then all of our music is available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and Pandora as well. I think if that's still a thing.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Sorry, I was looking at something else. I did the TuneCore thing, and we have all the stores on there. So we're trying to get it out there to as many platforms as possible.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, we definitely really appreciate you coming to hang out with us on the mixtape tonight. It's been great speaking with you, learning a bit about Common Vision, talking about the old New York scene. I mean, I can talk about that area for forever. Some of my favorite bands came out of there. But like I said, Boston was a pretty heavy contender against it too. But I honestly, I don't know, might piss off some friends on this, but I think that New York might have it. I think New York might get a little bit more heavy hitters per capita than we do.
Yeah, maybe. But
at least some of my favorite. I mean, I literally wear it on my sleeve every single day.
There it is.
Last Job will always continue to be one of my favorite bands throughout history.
Likewise.
They were a game changer for me. I saw them with Poison the Well and Hatebreed in like '99 or 2000.
Oh yeah.
And that kind of was shortly, after discovering the Deftones and all that, and it changed everything. I didn't know that bands could play like that, because I was young. I was like 12, 13 years old at the time. So especially, being in Boston, moving up to Maine, being in a rural area, and then this, happens, and it just changed everything. And
I think I saw one of those tours. I saw, it was Poison the Well, Hatebreed, Converge. There was a couple other bands, but it was like the day after Christmas at Poughkeepsie. I'll never forget it. It must have been like 2000, 2001, somewhere in there. It was like right when Jane Doe dropped too, which was like another big record for me. So they came out right off the bat, hitting with Concubine, and it was amazing. So Boston's got the awesome bands too.
Oh, we definitely do, and I'm not knocking it in any shade whatsoever. Just saying, some of my very favorite Dillinger Escape Plan, especially, there's nothing that band can't do. And I know they only recently hit hiatus after 20 years of incredibly hard work, but I already miss them, and they can come back tomorrow if they wanted to.
I wanted to fly up for that reunion show, and I know it's sold out in like 5 minutes, so I didn't even.
Oh, absolutely. And it was like them and Daughters together, which, oh man, number one, amazing to see, especially being in that, Boston, Providence area, watching them from an opener to where they are now. I just saw them last year for their new album, first one in years, drastically changed, but like unbelievable evolution.
Yeah, Daughters was another one. And then, like I said, even like my older bands, like their band prior As the Sun Sets, that was another like just huge band for me. Love those guys.
A lot of great stuff, and hopefully people that are listening to this, you're taking track, taking names here, writing some of these down. Because if you haven't heard some of these bands, do yourself a favor tonight or tomorrow. Go browse through YouTube. Some of these deep dives are absolutely worth it. And for me, they're some of my biggest influences as a guitar player, and obviously same to you.
Absolutely.
So AJ, thank you so much. It's been awesome sitting and hanging out with you tonight. My guest tonight has been AJ Tompkins, former guitarist from My Bitter End, currently in Common Vision from Orlando, Florida. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, we'll talk soon. Have a good one, AJ.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Peace.